Welcome, dear listeners, to Broadcast from Elsewhere. I'm Enigma, your host, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host,
DL. Hi.
And today we're talking about the wonderful movie that I'm told you have very strong opinions on, Leprechaun.
Honestly, strong opinions would imply that I felt anything. Other than boredom and annoyance. I guess I was really bored and really annoyed watching the movie. Do you want to start with some behind the scenes info that you found?
So I did want to talk a little bit about some of the cast, at least. There's not much I could find about the director. He does a few other weird horror movies. He did a horror movie about Rumpelstiltskin, I found out, apparently. I don't know if it was any good. I didn't really bother to look, but I can't imagine it was very great, given this. He also did some writing for quite a few, Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and, even an episode of Elf. But the star, I guess you could say, the Leprechaun, is played by Warwick Davis, which you may recognize from Harry Potter, actually. He was, one of the professors.
Flitwick, I believe, was the name of
Flitwick. Yeah, Phileas Flitwick. Exactly. And he was, I believe I also saw he was in Star Wars.
Oh, really?
As, the Ewoks or something. Yeah. So, and he's also the star of Willow, the movie/TV series. I don't know if he's in the TV series, but I know he was the star of the movie Willow as well.
I've never heard of Willow, but...
It's an old fantasy series.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll look into it.
Yeah, I never really got into it either. Probably. It was a movie, and it got picked up for a series, I think last year, for Disney.
Oh. Huh. Maybe I'll look into that. It cannot be worse. Well, okay, it probably could.
I would hope not.
I
would hope not. Apparently Davis actually enjoyed making these films, though. Especially, he said that he really enjoyed the Hood films, which are the 5 and 6.
Oh yeah, because this is a franchise. We're only covering one today, but
yeah. Maybe next year we'll cover the next one. We'll do the annual Leprechaun.
The annual Leprechaun tradition.
Annual Leprechaun. Yeah.
That I am doing entirely sober. This movie made me want to start
unfortunately.
drinking. Unfortunately. If you're gonna watch this movie, you gotta do it plastered, right? I feel like I don't want to encourage drinking, but I'm encouraging drinking. Yeah, it'd be so much more fun.
Definitely more fun. Yeah, because, I did it sober too at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I was...
Same. Yeah. It was... it took a lot to not look at my phone, so do you want to get into the plot of this cinema?
Yeah, this masterpiece we have today. No.
We open on a leprechaun monologuing to himself in a cave with his gold, and a limousine driving at night. We just cut to a limousine. Why is this guy in a limo? Is it because he's rich now?
Yeah, I guess he just was thinking, I'll just splurge now since I have all this money, I guess.
The money
even though he didn't cash in the coins yet, so I don't know how he paid for the limo.
Just pay for a limo in gold leprechaun coins with random scripture written on them, as we see later in the movie. It's just, that's so inconspicuous. Just I can only imagine being that car dealer. Okay, it's gonna be however much money. Well, here's my doubloons.
It's almost as bad as Elfette buying a car with her candy canes in that other movie.
But that was just straight up theft.
Yeah, that was just
theft. So he gets out of his limo. This man's name is Dan O'Grady, and he's Irish because his last name starts with O. So he walks up to his wife, and who's standing on their porch, and he's like, "We're rich now. I have all this money from a leprechaun." And he shows her the leprechaun money, the leprechaun gold, and she's like, "No."
No. Yeah. She sees the gold. She sees him pull out. He smashes open an urn that had the gold inside it for some reason.
Yeah.
because like there was like a urn, and then it had a sack of gold inside it for some reason. He shows her the coins, and she's like, "No, it's not gold." Or like something. Like, she doesn't even just.
Was it just sitting
on
the porch already? Because like I could be misremembering this, but like remember he walks up onto the porch and it's like not in his hands; it's already on the porch. So that doesn't make any sense. Like he just pulls it out.
No, I think you're right, because from what I remember, the only thing he had in his hands when he got out of out of the limo was the bottle of like whiskey that he fucking downed before he walked up to his house.
Yeah, just absolutely plastered, just like everybody watching this movie should be.
Yeah, he's that's your sign right there.
Yeah, that's your gold standard. Just when the characters in the movie are like, we need to drink because we cannot handle this. So the wife goes inside and she hears a child singing inside of a suitcase. So she's about to die.
Yeah, clearly. Everyone knows children are not to be trusted in horror movies.
Oh yeah, especially children you can't see that are randomly singing from inside of a suitcase. Huh?
Just singing children in general are never to be trusted, I would say.
Yeah, but like, if a real child is inside of a suitcase, it won't sing like whatever it was singing. I forgot what it was.
It was, I think it was Mary Had a Little Lamb, if I remember correctly.
Right, probably, yeah. So like nursery rhymes.
Yeah, it was nursery rhymes, for sure.
So, the leprechaun, it turns out that the leprechaun is here, and the leprechaun can also imitate people's voices, which I didn't know was a thing that they could do in folklore, and I doubt that that's a real part of folklore. I could be wrong,
I doubt that too. I meant to look into that, but I was like, I'm pretty sure it's not. The only thing I know about leprechaun folklore is that they have the gold that they're supposed to have at the end of the rainbow, and you can trick them into giving their gold, and then, like, that's about it, I think.
Yeah, and they're, like, little guys wearing green, and they usually have red hair. Which does bring me into, like, a genuine, legitimate praise. The makeup and the makeup effects for the leprechaun are really good. I will give them props for that. It looks good. It's effective. It's not necessarily scary, but, like, it's well done makeup.
Yeah, it actually really legitimately is, like, really good looking makeup. It actually looks realistic.
Yeah.
And, like, I would mind seeing what else this person has worked on if maybe they worked on some more quality films.
Yeah. So the wife gets scared so hard by the leprechaun that she falls down the stairs and dies. And Dan shows up and threatens the leprechaun with a 4-leaf clover.
Yeah, apparently, like, 4-leaf clovers are its one weakness, as we learn later on in the film.
How does he know this?
I mean, I guess he must have been researching them. I know Ozzy mentions later in the film that he likes to tell stories about leprechauns and fairies and other like, mythical beings, so...
Yeah, a character later.
Yeah, Ozzy's a character we'll meet soon here.
Pretty soon, yeah.
Anyways, yeah, he must be doing a bunch of research into mythological beings, I guess. I'm not sure if he was trying to look for the gold, and that's why he went... I mean, he said he went to Ireland for, like, a funeral, I think it was, but, yeah.
Dan just read the Wikipedia page for this movie. That's what happened. Just not the part where he dies, or kind of, not really. So, Dan locks the leprechaun in a very convenient wooden crate, like, with the clover on top of the crate, so it's, like, keeping him trapped and weak on the inside. But except that, he just falls over and dies from, like, a stroke? Or a heart attack or something like that? Like, he just falls down and dramatically either dies or gets seriously injured. I don't really know. I think it's seriously injured.
I think it was meant to, be the stroke, because one of the characters mentions later that he had a stroke 10 years ago.
Okay. They could have
And
made
that's
that
how he
more
ended up in
clear,
that
I feel.
nursing home. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. But,
Um,
you know, why would we want a movie that is actually quality when we could have this?
I need a palate cleanser after this movie.
Don't worry. We can watch something later if you want.
Oh, maybe. So, then we get a cut to 10 years later. Right? Is that what happens next?
Right, yes.
Yes.
I believe that is correct, yes.
Did you notice this song playing in this scene? Because I hate to be the one who dotes on music in these movies and things, but the song playing in this scene...
Yeah, I did. There's... Go ahead.
It's just like so on the nose. It's like, I need a 4-leaf clover. Like,
yeah. I noticed that too. I was like, I don't know what the fuck this song is, but God, they like hitting the nail on the head with it.
Yeah,
for real.
it's really on the nose. We meet this girl named Tori, played by Jennifer Aniston, and her dad, JD, which stands for Jennifer's dad. No. That's how I remembered his name, though.
Jennifer's dad.
JD. So Tori's a brat.
God, she's the worst. Well, I mean, everyone's the worst in this movie, if I can be honest, but...
There's not much...
There's not really a lot of likable people.
There's, like, at best, like, a decent person who's, like, okay, and at worst, you have just, like, the most insufferable people you'll ever meet. Like, Tori is, like, oh my god, there's no indoor swimming pool, this place sucks! That's, like, one of her first lines. It's really bad. But I can't blame her, like, for a certain thing, because, like, they go down to the basement, and there's, like, an entire tarantula just there, just, like, crawling around, and that's not a thing that happens.
Yeah,
like,
no, not usually.
Tarantulas aren't just, like, casually in the middle of, like, rural... Where is this? California? I don't know. It's definitely not suburban California, which is where it definitely actually is, but...
You know, that's a good question. I don't know if they actually said where it was supposed to take place in the movie.
Well,
let's see
either
if I
way...
can find that out. But, yeah.
I feel like a tarantula just crawling around a basement. Like, that's somebody's pet that escaped, right? Like,
Right.
So, that struck me as weird. So they go out of the house, and we meet my least favorite character in the movie. Like, do you want to talk about Nathan?
Yeah, sure. The fucking gaslighting handyman. Sure.
Sexist gaslighting handyman.
That's what he literally... Oh yeah, sexist. He also, like, not size shame. What's the word? Like, it's fat shame? Not fat shame, really.
Skinny shames her, basically. Like, he
skinny
like,
shames, you know.
Like...
Body shaming, that's the word.
Body shaming feels like, yeah. He body shames her later on, but here he's just like, well, I expect you to not like this place. You're a girl, and girls don't like bugs and stuff. And she's like, well, actually, I'm gonna stay. No.
And I think we're supposed to want these two to get together, because that's what they give off. Is like the major, like, shipping energy, like, oh, these two are the love interests. And it's like, no, they should actually stay as far away from each other as possible, because they're both assholes. But
at the same time, I hate them both so much that I kind of want to ship them out of hatred. Like, I kind of want to be like, yeah, you two are assholes, you're perfect for each other. But, like, at the same time, no, They're really not. They don't really flirt or anything, they just kind of argue, it's terrible. I literally wrote...
But it's like the kind of flirting that the kind of arguing that feels like flirting, if that makes sense to me. To you, I mean.
Yeah, that's... I literally wrote, they're gonna end up together, and I hate that.
Yeah.
So we also meet two other important characters, which are Alex...
Yes, we meet Alex, and he has another friend named Ozzy, who's a much older man, probably in his 30s or so. He has sort of like a Lenny thing going for him, like a Mice and Men.
Yeah, that's exactly the comparison I was thinking, is Lenny from Of Mice and Men. He's mentally handicapped for sure, and he's just like, but he's like best friends with Alex. And they drive a truck that says...
It's Three Guys Who Paint.
Yes, it says 3 Guys Who Paint. And I'm a little concerned, because one of the 3 aforementioned guys is 10. So, that feels like child labor.
Yeah, it's okay, don't worry about it. It's the 80s. Oh no, sorry, it's the 90s. It's the 90s, who cares about a little child labor?
Me.
Come on. It's okay, if the kid might eat a little bit of paint, so what?
Well, a little bit of paint. Alfie dumps all of it on his frickin' head.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you can make a mistake this bad. Like, he just, dumps a whole bucket of paint all over his head, and Tori, Jennifer Aniston's character, is like, oh, just go wash up. So he goes inside, he, gets out of the shower, and he hears the little kid singing. I think it's Mary Had a Little Lamb Again, or it's some other nursery rhyme, and this leads him to the basement, where he finds the crate, and then he releases the leprechaun like a dumbass.
Yeah, and he didn't really have to do much. All he did was, he brushed off the clover, and the leprechaun just busts out of the fucking crate. Like, it just destroys that thing.
Yeah. I will give props to Warwick Davis. He is definitely having a fun time in this role. Like, he's hamming it up for sure, and it's kind of almost redeems it. It doesn't, but it almost redeems it that he's, enjoying it so much, but it doesn't make the movie good or funny. All the one-liners are bad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but I'm glad to see he enjoyed it, because I was worried he'd be one of those things where, he doesn't, want to talk about it anymore, but I saw a few interviews, but he actually seems to really enjoy it. He especially really likes, like I said earlier, the Hood films, and he mentions apparently that there's a rap he does in one of the Hood films. A Leprechaun rap.
That sounds awful.
I'm very intrigued to see it. I love horrible, rapping like that. It's always fun to look into.
It is very fun.
So once Lep breaks out, Ozzy, of course, goes out to go warn the others. But, of course, no one's going to believe him because, if some dude comes up to you and screams, there's a leprechaun in the basement, what are you going to do?
Well, if you're Nathan, you're going to take a stick, like a tree branch. And you're just gonna be like, just in case, I'm gonna go down to the basement with my abs and with my biceps and my freaking my vest with a slit down the side. He has a vest with a slit down the side, which is really stupid, and a tank top. And he's like, I'm gonna go to the basement with this stick. And Tori, who I kept calling Troy in my notes, Tori is like, oh, I'll go down with you just in case. Just in case my love interest gets murdered, I'll be there. Just in case. What? Okay. I wrote, in reference to the stick, I wrote, if push comes to shove, I'll just give him a splinter. Ooh. I don't get what the stick is gonna do.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking either. That's not a very effective weapon against really anything. Even if it was I don't know, a fucking possum or some shit that he got spooked by or something. That's not gonna do shit. The only thing you could do is maybe make your dog go fetch it or something. So they do go downstairs to check it out, but they don't find anything because the leprechaun's already missing. They only find a rat that they're like, oh hey, there's your leprechaun, Ozzy. It's bro, I know he's not very bright, but I don't think he would call a rat a leprechaun.
Yeah,
come on.
This entire movie, Troy, there we go, Tori, keeps,
if it helps, you can just call her Jennifer.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So Jennifer Aniston just keeps being like, leprechauns aren't real. It's not a leprechaun. Okay, Jennifer, what is it?
Right.
Like, what
Especially when she actually does see it.
Yeah.
Especially when she actually does see it later in the movie. Yeah. It comes up and attacks her boyfriend later on. She's like, it's not a leprechaun. It's like, what do you mean?
What is it then? And I guess she just really doesn't want Ozzy to be right because she's a stuck-up little brat. I really hate her.
Yeah. But up next, they go out and they see the rainbow outside. And Ozzy immediately is like, oh, this is a magic rainbow.
Yeah, it's a really, really bad graphics, by the way. Like, it just looks like a screensaver. It's some really bad graphics.
It's the Windows XP rainbow.
The Windows XP rainbow. And Ozzy and Alex are like, we're gonna find the end of the rainbow, and we're gonna find the pot of gold, but it's an abandoned truck. And then more bad effects, because a bag of gold coins appears in the truck.
Yeah, that was something I was confused by. I was like, why isn't it just already sitting in the truck? Why'd they have to be like, oh, poof, there's a magic bag?
Because we have to make it really clear that this is magic, this is supernatural, this is the Leprechaun's doing, when, just so the audience knows that this isn't just an unrelated broken down truck in the middle of nowhere that has, a bunch of gold coins inside that are completely unrelated. This, the audience needs to know.
Yeah, something just occurred to me when we're talking about this. Why didn't O'Grady still have the coins? And, why didn't he cash them out in all these 10 years? Because he trapped the leprechaun. He could have just cashed out the coin. I know he had a stroke, but he was clearly, able to speak when they see him later, even though he was, dying at the time. But that's unrelated to what I'm talking about.
That's unrelated.
So,
yeah.
Well,
no, it is. You're right.
What I'm talking about, at least, you know?
Yeah. So Ozzy is like, well, I know how to check if this gold coin is a real gold coin. And he eats it.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, I know, I'll just bite it like they always do on TV. And he, puts it up to his mouth, and they, cut away for, a brief second, and he's like, and he somehow swallowed the fucking coin. It's like, how do you fuck up that bad, where you go to bite a coin? That's
exactly what I wrote. I wrote, how do you even fuck up that bad? So they hide the bag in a well, which is important, that comes back later. And then we cut back to the house, where the leprechaun hides under a car and, grabs Tori, and, she's like, oh, that's just the guy who it's not even her boyfriend, it's just, a guy who has so far done...
That's just the guy who harassed me earlier.
Yeah, this is the guy who harassed me. Oh, teehee. This is, so romantic. And, if I was dating somebody and they grabbed... and, I would not assume that a random hand coming from, below a truck was my partner. I would not do, what world are we in right now? That's what I thought too.
I wouldn't expect that either. If he was, behind her grabbing, her butt or something, that would make more sense. But, he's under the car grabbing at her leg, and she's like, oh, tee, it's just Nathan. It's like, no, you dumb bitch.
You dumb bitch. So, then, JD is, hears a cat meowing, and he reaches inside of a hole, and the leprechaun bites JD with some, I guess, decent gore. I don't know enough about horror movies to, know how impressive.
I say it looked pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's like you said earlier when we were talking amongst ourselves. It didn't look like cranberry juice or whatever it was you said.
It's not oh, that's blood, but it's also not oh, that's definitely cranberry juice. It's not like you put water in a ketchup bottle, shook it up, called it a day, in some movies, side-eyeing the Velocipaster.
Yeah, I think it looked pretty good, honestly. Most of the effects are pretty good in this movie, except for, maybe that rainbow.
Yeah, the rainbow and, the bag appearing. I think the gore effects and the, makeup effects, they did pretty well at. Or they did pretty good at, but, yeah.
Yeah, I think they clearly had an actual budget for this, as opposed to some movies.
The budget for this movie was $1 million. I remember looking that up. $1 million is not a lot.
It's not a lot, but, sometimes I've noticed, with horror movies especially, you can actually make a pretty decent movie with a shoestring budget.
Huh.
If you try hard enough.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing. But this is not a decent movie.
True, but decent looking, I guess.
I guess.
As far as effects go.
As far as like effects and as far as like competency and like how it's shot and like there's no like terrible like ADR or like really bad like exposure in the background of like I-Man where the sky was white. There's not a lot of that in this movie. It's mostly like you can tell what's happening on screen. You just aren't entertained by it. So they rush JD to the hospital, and I don't remember if he ever shows back up in the movie again.
No, he's no, he never is there again. I think he might appear like slightly near the end when they're like all, like walking off in the sunset, so to speak, or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, from what I remember, he's not in the movie at all after this. So it's just Jennifer Aniston and her stupid boyfriend, and of course the kid Ozzy.
Yes.
But yeah.
So they go into town. They take him to the hospital, and the leprechaun follows on a tricycle.
Yeah, I love that so much. Because he just goes into the barn, disappears for a second, and it just comes out with a little tricycle, and he's like laughing his little ass off as he rolls down the street after them.
This is such a stupid movie.
Yeah.
I'll give it props for that. That is, if there was more of like that kind of silly shit in this movie, I would enjoy it more. But it's mostly just like boring nonsense and like I don't know. If there was more of like shenanigans with like the leprechaun being ridiculous and silly, then I think that would make this movie a lot more enjoyable. But there's not a lot of that. So
I think some of the later ones like lean into it more, but I haven't really seen the other ones. But I know he also tries to like marry random girls in like some of the sequels, and I don't know why that's a plot point, but
that's so absurd. Okay, that the more I hear about the sequels, the more I'm like, I kind of want to watch them, but also I look at my notes and I just see how much I was like, just.
Because I know the in space one that you were interested in is like him trying to marry a space princess.
Okay, I'm just gonna skip 2 and 3 and watch 4. I don't need them. I know the basic premise.
Yeah, to be fair, they're not really like connected aside from there being like a leprechaun in them. They're not really like any story bits you need to know.
Yeah, so then we get the coin shop scene.
Yeah, so Alex and Ozzy go to take the coins to that little coin shop, little collector's coin shop, while the other two take JD to the hospital and then go to like a restaurant to get some food or whatever. So they take it by the coin collector, and he tells them like, "Oh, it could be a priceless thing. I'm gonna have to take these overnight so I can study it." And Ozzy even, like, asks, like, "Oh, do you think it could be from a leprechaun?" The guy's just like, "The fuck are you on about, basically?"
Yeah.
Which I guess valid, you know?
Yeah, like, it's not like leprechauns are, like, a known thing that exists. This is a horror movie monster that, like, there's no, like, this isn't common knowledge, is what I'm saying. Like,
exactly, yeah, it's not like,
universe.
Yeah, like, the public in this universe is just as, like, just as, unaware of like leprechauns as we would be if the leprechaun existed in our universe.
Yeah. So this is mostly like this is related to the movie, but it's unrelated to the things happening in it. There's like a really creepy statue in the background of this scene that I was just like, please move. Please do, because if it moves, like if that really creepy like lifelike statue were to just suddenly move, this movie would get so interesting. It doesn't, by the way, but I would have really loved that.
It's just there to trick us.
It's just there to give me false hope. There is no hope.
Yeah.
This is Leprechaun. There is no hope.
No hope. Only Leprechaun.
God, this, I had to stop this movie at about this point to just, like, take a break and watch somebody else review this movie, because I was like, I need somebody to affirm that this movie sucks. And they did. So, I watched Dead Meat's review of this on their YouTube channel, and yeah.
Yeah. Great channel, also.
Yes.
Definitely a good one to look at if you're into horror. Or wanting to get into it, like yourself. But yeah, so we have the coin man closes up shop, so Ozzy and Alex leave, and he starts looking into the coin. He has a little book full of, like, Irish coins, I guess, throughout the years or something. So he starts looking for one that matches the one he has in his hand, of course. But he's interrupted as he starts to hear a little bike bell, the most intimidating thing possible.
Yes.
And at one point, even the tricycle just like appears in his shop and is like, not with the leprechaun on it, but just appears in his shop next to his safe. So he naturally goes ahead and doesn't care about this at all. Like, he just like, oh, that's weird. And just opens up the safe, and of course there's good old Leppy.
Not to defend this movie or the characters in it, but I think when you're expecting silence, any noise is unsettling, whether it's, like, bicycle bells or, like, screaming. I think I'd be more scared of a nursery, if I heard a nursery rhyme in the middle of the night, than if I heard screaming. Because, like, I feel like the more, like, seemingly innocent the sound, the more scared I would be if I was expecting silence, if it was the middle of the night. You know?
I can kind of see what you mean, especially, like, the singing part. That can be really freaking creepy.
Yeah, which is why everybody in this movie hears singing and is just like, oh, I'm gonna go towards that.
I mean, that's just how people are in all horror movies. You'll learn.
Yeah.
Even if it's like even if it's like actual screaming or like bones crunching, people will be like, "Oh, wonder what that is," and just run towards it.
Yeah. So the leprechaun shows up, and kills the store owner with a pogo stick.
Yes.
This was...
Yes, because that was one of the most ridiculous kills in this one, for sure.
Just a pogo stick? Like, that's great. And, like, his face is covered in blood, which is weird, because, like, that's not how...
Yeah, because, like, he didn't touch his face at all. He bites him on the leg when he first comes out of the safe.
Right.
And then he, like scolds him for a minute about, like, oh, don't you take me leprechaun's gold and all that shit.
Yeah.
And, then he just gets the pogo stick, which I don't know where he got the pogo stick from, also.
Well, apparently,
and just starts jumping on his lungs with the pogo stick.
I mean, this coin store, this coin shop apparently has a go-kart in it that we see. Because, like, sure, I've never been inside of a coin shop, so, like, I don't know. But I highly doubt they just randomly have go-karts there.
Yeah, I felt like this was supposed to be a pawn shop, but that's not what it says on the sign. It says coin collector. So...
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, the go-kart, that's there, the leprechaun steals it and drives this, mini go-kart down the highway, which was kind of funny. But any humor or charm in that scene is entirely slapdashed by the scene that follows it, which is too long.
Yeah, so, he's driving down the highway, a little stretch of the highway or whatever it is, and of course a cop sees him speeding down the way, so pulls him over, because, I just would love to know how many go-karts a cop pulls over, because that just feels so weird. Anyways,
yeah.
He pulls him over, and of course the, the leprechaun immediately, scratches at his face. We also have a quick cut to, what's up?
I just wrote the face grab of death.
Yeah, because he, grabs his face and, I thought it was going to end there, too.
Yeah.
But, we do have a cut, a quick cut to, Nathan and, Jennifer being just toxic, but
it's so toxic.
It really is not important. So I don't know why they had thought like they needed to show us that.
Yeah,
because then it immediately cuts back to him like chasing around the cop in the forest, because he just starts doing this like teleporting shit where the cop's hanging behind a tree and he comes out and is like, oh look, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here. It's just like, just stop.
Just kill him. It takes like 5 minutes, and you think 5 minutes is like a short amount of time. It feels like forever. It's just so much time to be just dicking around in a forest. This isn't that long of a movie. It's an hour and a half. It could easily be like much less if they did not need this scene. Like, this scene does nothing.
Yeah, apparently they added in this scene like later because they wanted to go for like a more of an R rating or something. And it's like, this, I don't feel like this adds enough to like make it more like R.
That reminds me of it really didn't need that scene in the slightest. It almost reminds me of the movie Spookies, which is another really bad horror movie, where they added in a scene at the beginning of the movie with like a little kid's birthday party, and like a cat man or something, and the rest of the movie is about like a group of friends in a haunted house, but they added this random side thing at the beginning of the movie with this little kid named Billy who runs away from his family and finds an abandoned cabin in the woods that's set up for a birthday party, and then he that's what that reminded me of. But at least that movie is like fun.
Yeah, also that movie was like two different movies like kind of stitched together, so that's probably why that one is a little more confusing. But we can talk about that on another episode possibly, because that is a good one to talk about, I think.
I wrote, what's the point of this scene? I hate it so much. But it ends with it ends with the leprechaun just jumping down from a tree and snapping his neck. And like, I usually find like neck snaps in particular like really like I don't know, like something about that is just for me in particular. But I didn't care because I was just so glad that this scene was over. I was like, at least it's over.
Finally, at least, like, I'm glad somebody died at least, so we can finish this.
For real. The leprechaun is eating Lucky Charms. Did I skip something in my notes here?
I don't remember anything about Lucky Charms, alright. So, we go back to the diner, and Tori like has to show off about how she's so vegan and all this shit. And, like, we have like another pointless scene with her and Nathan. Basically, is just showing that they're not really good for each other or a couple at all. Because it starts off with him like body shaming her about like, oh, you know, you're so skinny, you should eat more. And she's like, yeah, and she's like, sees like he's eating meatloaf. She's like, you can't eat that. That's a dead cow or something. Because she's vegan, I guess now.
Yeah, and God, both of these characters are so unlikable. So there's
really no redeeming people in this.
Not even a little bit. So I think we're back at the house now?
Yeah, we go back to the house, and the leprechaun is like searching for his gold to like all their drawers and stuff.
Yeah, this is like...
Then he gets distracted because he finds shoes, I guess?
Yeah, this is the part where he eats... I wrote this because in my notes I said, the leprechaun is eating fucking knockoff Lucky Charms. I can see why this is a cult film. Like, he's reading through cabinets, and he finds like knockoff Lucky Charms that are like, I don't know, like Lucky Pebbles or something like that. Like Lucky-O's, whatever. Like Lucky Charms cereal knockoff, and he just like starts eating it, and then it just cuts. This is so dumb. If there was more of that, like, this movie would be like a lot more entertaining if there was more of that kind of ridiculous shit, but there's not. But yeah, like you said, he has an obsession with shoe shining.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing in Leprechaun lore either, but his whole thing is like, if you give him like a shoe to shine, he'll be distracted for some reason. Because he just finds all their shoes and he starts putting them up on the table and he starts like shining them up. And he kind of lingers on Tori's shoes, and that like kind of rubbed me a weird way because I thought he was gonna be like a pervert about it, and I was like, oh great, he's gonna start sniffing her shoes or some shit.
God, everybody sucks in this movie. Everybody is the worst. So the group comes back and finds the place absolutely ransacked, and Nate is like, it was a bear.
Yeah, as we know, bears have a penchant for, like, organizing shoes on the table.
Yes, that's the thing that bears do. So Nathan goes outside, steps in a bear trap, and the leprechaun shows up, and the rest of the group just fights him with, like, rocks and sticks. At one point, the kid is, like, about to throw a rock, but he doesn't let go of the rock until it's, like, on the leprechaun. Like, when you throw something, you let go when your arm is, like, back, but he just doesn't let go, and he just places the rock on him.
It's a peace offering. It's like, here, a rock for your troubles.
But, like, he just aggressively places a rock on his back, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Can offer you a rock in these trying times.
God, so... I just a peace offering of a rock. And they're beating him with rocks and sticks. It's so bad. There's no point. Like obviously this motherfucker is magic. I don't know why you think.
And I don't remember if you mentioned or not, but like I don't remember if you mentioned or not, but Nate is of course stuck in a bear trap at the scene also.
Yes. So like, it's so. I almost called her Rachel. That's a different Jennifer Aniston character.
Different Jennifer character. It's okay. She apparently would rather people forget about this movie, and I can't blame her, I guess.
I cannot blame her in the slightest for that, because, so Jennifer Aniston is like, Ozzy, go call the cops. So he runs inside, he gets the phone, he's like, he calls the cops and he's like, oh, there's a leprechaun, you gotta come quick, you gotta send the army, you gotta send the Air Force, there's a leprechaun here. And we cut to the police station and the cops are like, what the fuck is this loser on about? Oh my god, oh, it's Ozzy again, oh, that motherfucker. Anyway, like, we're just not gonna do a damn thing. We're not even gonna write anything down for this. Like, we're just gonna be like, yeah, whatever. Wait, is it legal? That's definitely not okay for the cops to do, is just completely disregard.
I feel like they have to check out the call regardless.
Yeah.
Also, like, how small is this town? Because usually when you call, like, the police, I mean, I don't know if this is the 90s, but, like, shouldn't they not be talking directly to, like,
that's
a
what I was
deputy?
thinking.
They'd be talking to, like, a dispatcher or something?
I was thinking that, too. I was like, why are the cops answering the calls? Like, it should definitely be a dispatcher. Like, that's its own job, but no, apparently not. I don't know, I'm no expert, but like, that felt weird to me too, so I'm glad.
Yeah, and like the other cop says, the one who answers the phone is like, yeah, last week he called about UFOs or something like that. It's like, so I guess Ozzy just has like a track record of just like, I guess, prank calling the police?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that would, I don't know, warrant something, but like you still have to like at least write something down or like make a report on like the police scanner, because there's somebody in my hometown who is like the kind of person to like call randomly on the phone to the cops like, oh, this crazy thing that can't happen is happening to me, and they had to like report it on the police scanner. And I know that because my brother listens to the police scanner, and he would always talk about this crazy person who always like called the cops for such ridiculous reasons. But like they would talk about it on the police scanner, and they would send people to this person's house. So like, like you can't just be like, oh, that Ozzy. Anyway, what the fuck?
Yeah, because even the sheriff was right there too, and the sheriff was like, yeah, that crazy kid or whatever, and it's like, what is wrong with you assholes?
Like, oh my god. So Ozzy calls the cops for like, Nathan is trying to shoot the leprechaun, and the bullets do nothing. Apparently this motherfucker's bulletproof. Because fuck this movie.
Yeah, so, like, because, like, they shoot, like, they don't shoot him the first time. I think they shoot at him and they miss. And, like, he runs away and disappears. And he's like, and Nathan's like, he's in the bushes! And he just goes and, like, shoots at the bushes. It's like, first of all, what is wrong with you? You don't shoot blindly at something. You just, like, you wait for it to come at you, or you wait to see it. You don't just shoot blindly in the direction of something.
Yeah, apparently these bullets are both harmless and free. Because, like, they're just, like, giving them out like candy. Just, like, bang, 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 bang. Like, are you gonna run out of ammo at any point?
He's got the infinite ammo cheat on. Don't worry about it.
Oh, sure. Honestly, I'll accept whatever I need to accept to get this movie over with. So the car won't start. They try to get in the car, and the car won't start, which is a horror movie cliche, so of course that's what's happening. Yeah,
and also, this truck did this earlier in the movie, too, when they went to go take JD to the hospital.
Right.
I forgot to mention this, but, Alex goes looking under the hood at that scene, and he just, like, tugs on some wires, and it's magically fixed.
He's Jonathan from Highway to Heaven.
Yeah,
which is a reference that only you get, but, yeah, there's a show called Highway to Heaven where the main character in the first episode, like 5 minutes into the first episode, fixes a guy's truck in like 2 seconds, but it's just like looking under the hood and just magically fixing it off camera. So that's that. But of course the car won't start because this is a horror movie.
Yeah, and Alex goes to look into the hood again to do his magical wire pulling trick. But this time there's a leprechaun under the hood. Not in the hood, though. That's not until the 5th movie.
Oh my god.
Sorry. I can't get away from that. The title is just so stupid.
Like, multiple people have to approve movies. Like, multiple people have to be like, yes, this is a good idea. And I can't possibly comprehend why.
I can't get the fact that it's Leprechaun in the hood and then back to the hood. It's the next
is it back to with like the number 2 back to the hood?
I think so.
Seriously?
Actually, I know it's like
kidding.
I know it's the spelled TH. I know it's the spelled THA in the title.
Oh my god.
Hold on, I'm looking at it right now because Yes, it is. It's back the number 2 THA hood. Back to the hood. Back to
that is impressively stupid.
But yeah, back to the task at hand though.
Yeah, back to the garbage film.
So so he gets out of the hood and he breaks their windshield open and like kind of claws out. He doesn't take it off, but he claws at like Ozzy's ear. They're able to fend him off though because they have like the little cigarette lighter, which aren't a thing anymore. But if you didn't know, this little cigarette lighter, you push it in, and it would heat up so you could light your cigarette with it.
Right.
And they take that and they stab him in the eye with it, so he'll run away. He runs into the barn and gets like another fucking go-kart that he had. It's not the same go-kart he was driving earlier. Because it's like a black go-kart. Or whatever.
He has an arsenal of go-karts that he stores in a pocket dimension, because fuck this movie.
Yeah. Why not? He's got hammer space, that's fine.
He's got hammer space, hell yeah.
But I guess it's a pretty powerful go-kart, because he rams it into their truck, and it fucking flips and tumbles over.
Sure.
It was just, I was like, what the fuck?
That's
like, there's no way that would work. Exactly, no. They able to get out of the truck though, but it's ridiculous.
So, is this the part where they try to give it the coins from earlier to try to get it to leave them alone?
Almost. We're almost there.
Okay.
First, they get into their house, and they slam the door in his hand, and his hand comes to life.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Okay. I did not write that down.
Yeah, because his hand falls off in the door, and it like comes to life and like opens the door for him and comes back to him.
Yeah,
and he
like,
doesn't go inside. He just runs away.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
Yeah. So Tori calls 911 this time from her cell phone that she remembers that she has suddenly.
Yeah, her cell phone
you know,
in 1993? I'm sorry. Huh?
I mean, they existed. They just weren't very popular.
Yeah,
like they weren't as likely to happen.
So she's like, "Oh yeah, my mobile." So she calls 911, but it's the Leprechaun on the other line, right?
She calls 911 and she talks to the actual sheriff, but the sheriff tries to dispatch someone, and that's the Leprechaun because he's in the cop car. He's in the cop car from where that he killed earlier, from the terrible scene we were talking about earlier, where he's chasing him.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's in the car from that cop, who also that cop is now inside the car dead, which is not where he was when he died, but okay.
No, he was in the middle of the woods. This is so dumb.
Yeah, and this is a different cop he killed, but I doubt that.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
But it'd be kind of weird.
So, Jennifer Aniston has, like, a mental breakdown. Oh, wait, no, that's a little bit later, sorry. Yeah,
so, right now, after she gets off the phone with them, Ozzy spills the beans that there's, like, gold that they found and everything. So Alex tells them, like, where to find the gold inside the well. So now is when she goes out armed with a shotgun, to get the coins out of the well. As soon as she gets the coins up from the bucket, because all she had to do was, like, take the bucket from the well. And as soon as she does, this fucking little shit just teleports right next to her with this weird, like, green lightning effect where the fuck it's going on.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you got me gold," and all this, and he has this weird fucking thing when he takes it, and he's like, "It looks like me gold. It smells like me gold. It tastes like me gold." And it's like, what are you doing?
What
just
is
take
happening?
The gold.
It's just like, he's just like, he's been duped before, and he's just like, I need to make sure. I need to use all of the 5 senses. This is a foolproof plan to make sure that my gold is my gold. I have to use all of the 5 senses in the hammiest way possible, and just the most camp way that you possibly can. God, this movie is so tough.
So it seems like everything's fine for a minute, because she runs back inside while he's counting the coins. But oh no, he's only got 99 coins.
Yeah, there's supposed to be 100, so, and that's because Ozzy ate one like a dumbass. This movie could have ended if Ozzy didn't eat the coin. God damn it! I want this movie to be over.
Yeah.
So, Jennifer Aniston, like, has a breakdown. She's like, she literally says, "I don't know what the fuck's going on." And I said, "Me neither, Jennifer Aniston." Yeah,
same. I was the same thing. I was like, actually, I think that's a little later still, but I was still the same thing when that happened, because that was, that's when he's, like, pursuing them later.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. First, yeah, because he comes back in because he realizes one's missing. He gets all pissed, and Alex goes in the fridge for some ice for Ozzy's, like, wound, and out pops the Leprechaun. So,
yeah,
and he fucking makes another stupid one-liner that had nothing to do with what's going on, because he comes up and he, like, I forget why, but he, like, moves the teapot and just burns his hand. For what reason, I'm not sure. And he just says, "Oh, we're cooking now." And it's like, okay.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, then we have another teleportation scene where he's teleporting into different cabinets, like, while Nathan tries to chase him.
Yeah.
And he finally pops out of the chimney, and I just love how, like, Nathan doesn't even, like, hesitate with him. He just fucking shoots him point blank with the shotgun.
That's the most base thing he's done in the entire movie, is just be like, I am getting rid of this disgusting demon creature.
Yeah, and he fakes his death for, like, a few moments, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's dead, we did it," and then nope, he comes to life and just runs away again. They have to chase him more. God, this is like... This was like almost worse. This was worse than the forest scene because it was just like, oh my god, just stop chasing him. Just fucking do something. Something happened.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's where you're thinking of. Here's where you're thinking of the moment where she has a breakdown because he bursts out of the floor while they're trying to find him, and gets shot again. He scurries off, and then like the phone rings. And he's on the other end.
And that's when he's on the other end.
And he's like, oh, do you need a hand? And his fucking hand, little tiny gremlin hand. Yeah, it just comes out of the phone. I was like, what? The fuck is happening? And then she says that. I was like, yeah, same, sister. What the fuck is going on?
Oh my god. Like, I'm sorry for being kind of fuzzy on this movie. Like, I'll be honest, I got a tiny bit distracted, and I could have taken better notes, and I apologize. But, like, this movie sucks.
It's okay.
This is just blame it on the terrible movie. So Ozzy's like, I ate the coin. That's what's going on. I ate the coin. So the leprechaun needs the coin that is inside of me. So so the only way for him to get it is to kill me. But we can. Yeah,
it's not like I could vomit or anything, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, that would have been so gross, but at least the movie would be over.
Yeah, I mean, like, they could have done it off screen, but they could have been like, oh, here's some kind of substance that can make you vomit. Here you go, and then like,
sure,
he'll run off, and boom, there you go, coin, hooray! Yeah. But no, that would require actual competence for these characters. Yeah. Instead, Ozzy tells them like, hey, I remember old man Mr. Grady, or Mr. O'Grady rather. The one who owned this farm used to tell me all these stories about fairies and leprechauns. He probably knows how to kill a leprechaun. So he tells her... Yeah, so they tell her, like, oh, hey, yeah, he had a stroke 10 years ago. He's in a nursing home. And she runs off. It's like the middle of the night at this point. And she runs off in her Jeep, which they could have used earlier when the car wasn't working.
Yeah, they could have.
But sure.
Fine! Nobody has a brain cell! Jesus Christ! And they go outside and they throw shoes at him as a distraction so that Jennifer can get to the car and drive to the nursing home.
Yeah, because he just keeps catching them and like polishing them and throwing them back down again.
Yeah. It's funny, but it's ridiculous and stupid and God. And this is the part where I wrote, yay! Walking around a hospital!
Yeah, that's never a bad sign in a horror movie.
That's never a bad sign in a horror movie, and it's also never boring. It's boring.
It's very boring. Yeah, she finally does find him, or she thinks it's him, in a wheelchair, and he turns around and, oh no, it's Leprechaun. Now we have to have another chase scene where he's chasing her in a wheelchair for some reason.
Yeah, why is he in a wheelchair? Also, this is not what nursing homes look like. I've been inside of a nursing home.
No.
Like, it's like, it looks like a warehouse. Like, huh? This is not what nursing homes look like. This doesn't even look like a hospital. No. It looks awful. This is not even close to what nursing homes look like. I was baffled by that. This person's
never been to a nursing home.
This movie did not have a budget. This movie's budget was the gold coins. It was like $100.
Right.
No.
But she makes it to the elevator, and inside, like, O'Grady's just hanging from the ceiling for some reason.
He's like, hey, he's covered in blood, and,
yeah.
He's just like, I'm dying from blood loss, but the only way you can kill a leprechaun is with a 4-leaf clover, okay, bye. And Tori's like, cool. And she goes back to the farm, and like, in the middle of the night, she's, like, searching for a 4-leaf clover, which you would think it's, like, the middle of the night. She doesn't have a flashlight or anything. You'd think it'd be difficult to see.
Yeah, for real, because, like, I mean, at least she knew there was clovers there, because he did tell her, like, hey, I grow clovers in my farm, I guess, because of this, maybe? And, like, but still, it's like, how the fuck are you gonna find one like that pitch black, or it should be pitch black, it's not pitch black, but it should be.
Yeah. I wonder if they shot day for night here. I can't tell. If they did shoot day for night, it's decent day for night, but,
it still looks like
really
night,
bad.
at least, if that's the case. But he also teleports to her before, like, she can even find one. And he chases her through the field, which should he not be able to do, I would think, because, as we find that there is at least one 4-leaf clover in there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. He should... This is like if you had, like, a whole bunch of, like, crystals, including kryptonite, in a cave, and, like, having Superman try to chase you through it. Like, you would think that at some point his kryptonite would be there, and, like, because, like, fucking, if the 4-leaf clover is the kryptonite, he should not be able to chase her through the field, but whatever. Chases her, she's like, oh my god, the cops are here, and she sees cops, and she gets into the cop car. Like, she gets in the cop car?
Yeah, she for some reason goes up to the cop car and is, like, shouting at them, and then, like, gets inside the cop car in the driver's side.
Yeah.
Because for some reason the cop is in the passenger seat.
Yeah, why? Where did the driver go?
I mean, he's dead, but still.
Yeah,
that doesn't help. That doesn't mean anything.
He's very dead. So she stabs... So he shows up in the window, she, like, stabs him in the eye, and he's like, oh no, my eye! And his blood is all green. And she, and then he rips out the eye from the dead body and, like, puts it in his head. And that's, like, the one gore effect that I was like, that's a little iffy, because the eyeball looks plastic, but,
yeah, it's definitely like a glass eye or some shit.
Yeah, it's not
or
very
like a
good.
marble that they painted.
It's just a painted marble. I mean, glass eyes aren't, like, the whole eye, usually.
Yeah, no. But yeah, he puts the eye, the corpse's eye, into his own, and now it's his eye, I guess, because
Why
not?
Did we need that, though? Like, okay, fine. I guess if you're watching this movie, you're watching it for the gore. So, like...
Probably. You're definitely not watching it for the horror, or for the comedy.
Plot.
So...
There is one line that, like, we haven't gotten to, but it made me laugh really hard. Like, one line in this movie, I was like, okay, that was good. That was really funny, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, we're almost there, though.
Yeah, so Nathan saves her. I wrote, I literally don't care, let her die, I hate her.
Yeah, he shoots him again with the fucking shotgun, because clearly he doesn't run out of ammo, as we've mentioned.
And clearly he doesn't realize that that's not going to do anything.
Yeah, for real. I guess it, like, stuns him, but it doesn't do much, obviously.
So...
But they go off to the field, all four of them, and are all searching for a 4-leaf clover. And Ozzy just tells her, like, oh, you'll find one, you just have to believe. And she, like, immediately finds one then.
Yeah,
It's so stupid.
It's so dumb. I wrote, Tori finds a 4-leaf clover. The group is happy because they can defeat the Leprechaun, and I'm happy because I'm getting close to the end of this garbage movie.
Yeah. Also, the clover, like, glows for some reason, I've noticed.
Yeah, it does glow. It just, like, some really bad after effects of just, like, just so you know, this thing has 4 leaves, because it's a 4-leaf clover. And it's the thing that'll defeat the Leprechaun.
Yeah, that 3-leaf shit.
Yeah, that low-life 3-leaf shit. Anyway. So, Alex is, like, in the barn about to be cornered by the Leprechaun, and Ozzy shows up, and he's like, oh, by the way, I ate the coin to distract the Leprechaun, I guess?
Yeah, because, like, well, the Leprechaun was, like, trying to shove Alex's head in a bear trap, so I guess, it's kind of do or die at that moment.
Yeah, that's true. I can see where, like, Ozzy was just trying to protect the kid, but, like, I don't know. Nobody in this movie makes decent decisions, so, like, what am I expecting? But,
even the Leprechaun doesn't make a decent decision, because after learning that the coin is in Ozzy's stomach, he doesn't go for his stomach. He instead tackles him and starts clawing at his face, going like, "Give me my coin!" And it's like,
yeah,
get the coin, you dumb bitch! You have claws.
Yeah, you
Rip
have
open
claws.
his stomach or something.
Disembowel him.
Yeah, exactly. Just disembowel his ass. You're clearly not against it.
Yeah. Is that where you draw the line?
Right. Here's where you get your favorite line.
Yeah, this is my favorite line in the movie. The kid slingshots the clover at the Leprechaun, and he says, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms." And that almost made this movie worth it. Like, that plus the campy overacting of the titular Leprechaun are, like, the best parts of the movie. And the pogo stick murder. That one was funny as fuck. But, like, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms" is the best line ever uttered by a child in a movie. Incredible.
Yeah, I loved it too. I put down it might just be the best, most stupid line I've heard.
Yeah, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms" is really good. So he gets hit by the lucky charm.
He swallows it because it goes into his open mouth. He gets the clover in his open mouth.
Yeah.
And he starts like stumbling around and melting.
Yeah, he's melting, and the melting effects look pretty good here. I mean, at a certain point, it's like definitely a puppet, and it's like, oh, okay, that looks kind of bad, but...
Yeah, because it's weird, because he's like melting, and then suddenly he gets like struck by some purple After Effect BS, and suddenly he's a puppet.
Yeah.
And he falls down the fucking well, and we're like, oh, great, the movie's over. No, it's not. Because this movie refuses to die, just like the Leprechaun.
Oh, God. So he climbs back up, and then Nathan explodes it with gasoline. And then the cops show up. Yeah, he explodes it with gasoline, and then the cops show up, and there's like a Leprechaun voiceover that's like, "I will get me coin." And then the movie's finally over. I don't really need to give my final thoughts. I gave my thoughts on the movie as we were going through it. Like, it's not good, and this is a horror comedy that's not scary or funny.
Yeah, I definitely think they could have done a lot better with this. Like, it had good potential to be like a funny,
campy,
like, idea. Like, you know?
It has the potential to be so campy and so, like, cult classic camp, just silly nonsense. But it really banks on the idea that you are absolutely plastered.
Yeah, and like, I know that this one is not like as like unknown as like some of the things we might talk about on this podcast, but like this, like, it's kind of well known as far as like in some like horror like communities, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not like it's completely unknown, but it's not like it's a cult classic like something like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, for example, which is like, you know, very campy, but also good. Like, people enjoy it because it's so stupid.
It's just, like, it doesn't lean into the ridiculousness of its premise enough. Like, it doesn't take itself seriously either. It's just not funny or good or interesting. It's, honestly, I can't recommend this one. If you're really drunk, maybe it would be more fun with friends than by yourself.
I think it would definitely be more fun with friends if you have a bunch of friends around and have them all you can make a drinking game out of it. Maybe you can make a drinking game like every time the Leprechaun says like
that he's a leprechaun,
a one-liner, you take a shot, or if he says like I'm a leprechaun, or if he like says anything about me gold.
Yeah.
Or if he or anything like
anytime
that,
anybody denies
take a
that
shot.
the leprechaun's a leprechaun. Anytime somebody's like, it's not a leprechaun.
Anytime the word leprechaun is said in the movie, take a shot.
You will
be dead.
die.
Anyways.
You will die like you will want to do as you watch the movie. So yeah, it's not good. Watch I-Man.
Watch I-Man instead, or better yet, watch what we're gonna watch next week, which will be My Favorite Martian, an old Disney movie about Christopher Lloyd, who's a Martian, and he's hiding on Earth, and just Martian shenanigans. I'm
excited for, because I love sci-fi. It's my favorite genre, and like I love silly, campy sci-fi, and I love a good sci-fi comedy, and I love just dated special effects. Just this movie, it's, from what I've heard about it, like it's a miracle I haven't seen it yet, and it's like I am so excited to talk about it because from what I've heard, it's ridiculous, and I'm hyped.
Yeah, I think you'll actually really enjoy that one.
All right.
Especially because we have like some actual good people in it, like Christopher Lloyd and
Christopher Lloyd.
I forget his name, but he's the one of the guys from Dumb and Dumber, the blonde one.
Oh.
The Jim Carrey.
Yeah, the not Jim Carrey. I don't know his name either. He's not Jim Carrey.
He's not Jim Carrey. That's all we know.
Like,
but yeah,
he's one of the people in the world who isn't Jim Carrey. There you go. Anyway.
Anyways, that's all I've got for this episode. Be sure to follow us here on Spotify for more content. If you have any recommendations, you feel free to email me at broadcastfromelsewhere@gmail.com. And until then, this is the two of us signing off. Have a great rest of y'all day.
Yep.